what does a carbon tax mean in your community?
Just another tax.
Why do you say that?
Stephen Harper says that he thinks it's just another tax, and I trust what he says.
I think it just means that we're paying more money without really making effective change to the way we do things. There are other mechanisms I think governments can use to affect change through regulation, for example. So I know it may not be for the province or for the feds, it's hard to tell who's who, but let's say we change building codes. In order to get back, I think what we're hearing is carbon tax we get back around $300 something per family for. If I want to upgrade the insulation or windows in my house, it's going to take me 10, 15, 20 years to save that money to do it. So it's an interim solution. I think it's important we think about it, but I don't think there's only one way to do it, and I think the debate needs to be had into what's the most effective way. I mean, the one thing that comes to mind for me is CFCs back in the late 80s. We just banned it, and it solved the ozone problem at the time. I'm not saying that we ban heating, but there are other ways to do it, I think, that we can affect change, and I think we should need to look at those long and hard.
It gives us an opportunity to contribute to the environment. We have to think of our children and grandchildren in the future. We may have to make some sacrifices.
The carbon tax it's not good for Canada. There are other things that we can do to work with other countries, and my personal opinion is that that's something that the leaders of all the countries need to figure out and come together to address that, because it is a global issue.
It's going to cost us more to produce beef for simple fact of fuel costs, and everything's going to be affected, so everything's going to go up in price. So I think we're just, and we have no way of passing it on the consumer. It's pretty tough for us, and we grow hay and pasture land. Like, we're not making carbon like the big cities are, and in our cattle, and in our small town, we have a plant that makes activated carbon out of recycled wood. So we really are negative on the carbon footprint as it is, like in our area anyhow.
I think we're just taxing businesses and agriculture in general down the tube. It's a struggle.
Well, it affects us a lot because we, as us farmers, to show cattle, we have our barns and our shops, and just paying for that extra taxes just to heat it and keep our tractors and our cows fed in winter. That it costs a lot more, and I think it affects everyone. And then as we producers, we have to try and charge more for the stuff that we make, and that's going to affect everyone.
The huge cost in heating and fuel bills is really impacting our bottom line. The huge thing is margins right now are tight. We've had some very dry years, very tough years. And to be honest with you, it shrinks things down to the point where I don't know if we can continue to operate the way we're operating and going forward. So it's really concerning on our end on how this is being handled, especially with the carbon tax. Our concern is that, especially as livestock producers and farmers, we sequester a lot of carbon with our land base, and we're really not getting the credit for that sequestration, and we're getting taxed for any emissions that we make.